In this video, we're going to continue with our game and set up the player object with all the variables we need. Alright, we already have the objects we need made and ready to go, including an object for the player. So let's open up that player object. We've already gone over what we want this game to be, so we can easily decide what kind of variables we need. Let's start with controls. We could hardcode our controls into the game by writing them directly into key checks in the step event. However, what if we want to change the controls later on? Or what if we want to have multiple controls? For that, we're better off using variables to store the keys we want to use. We could use a normal instance variable. This would allow us to store a single set of controls for each key. However, it would be nice if the player had the choice of using both the arrow keys and W, S, A, and D to control the game. It's a bit more complicated, but this will give us some more practice with loops, so let's use an array to store multiple keys for each direction. Alright, so let's create a set of arrays called left, right, up, and down. They all need to have at least one index, so for each one let's make index 0 hold the standard arrow keys, which are VK left, right, up, and down respectively. This is one set of keys. Now we need W, S, A, and D. We haven't used letters yet as input. For this there is a special function called ORD, or ORD. This function takes a string of a single character, which would be the letter that we want to use, and returns the Unicode character for that key, which we can then use for keyboard check functions. So let's add another index to each key array, which will be index 1, and set them to ORD, W, S, A, and D. Now we have two key sets. We have index 0 directing to the arrow keys and index 1 directing to W, S, A, and D controls. Using this we'll be able to check for both key sets and have the game react to both. We could even have more indexes and key options if we wanted to by simply adding more indexes to the arrays. Another variable we'll need is a variable for the score. In more advanced games with more components, it would probably be a good idea to make this variable global. GameMaker has a built-in variable called score. The variable is global in scope and would work for all intensive purposes. However, to ensure we practice using our own global variables, we'll be using our own. Let's still call it score, but in all caps, making it different from the built-in variable. GML is case sensitive, so lowercase variable names are not the same as uppercase names. Okay, so we have score and movement. Now let's make a variable for the player's movement speed. There is once again a built-in variable for objects called speed. However, this is automatically applied, so if we use this, the object will just fly off to the right of the screen. Let's call a variable SPD for speed. Let's set this to 10. This will mean 10 pixels per step when we have it programmed in the next video. That should be all we need for the player to function. The last thing we need to do is link the player's sprite to the object. In this video, we set up the player's variables ready to use when we start programming keyboard input so that the player can control the game.